Music. There's Luke.
Hey.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I mean, that's right on time. Joe was a little ahead. He was answering a question about that. Maybe you can join. I was asking him about how do you guys feel about AI being used for creating music, and particularly, I mean, changing the lead vocals of songs using lead singers from one band applied. I mean, you see that a lot going on YouTube. And Joe was answering about that.
Well, I mean, I just wonder who's going to win the Cyborg Grammys in 2040. You know, I mean, it's like they're trying. When all of us classic rock guys are dead and we're dropping like flies. Thank God we're healthy, but some of my dear friends have not been so lucky, and there is a certain reality to technology and where our place is in it. We certainly have always embraced technology.
Mm-hmm.
Not me personally, but I know guys that do, like Joe and like Steve used to be, and like Paige. Mm-hmm. Well, Paige is more like me. We're kind of like analog dudes that need help.
Mm-hmm. Good.
We got the music. We just need the. Joe's a genius with this stuff. He produced my last record. I mean, he's a giant engineer producer, man. You know what I mean? And so all of us got our made enough records to know what it's supposed to be all about. But see, that's why we're appealing to kids that are 15 to 34, because they've grew up with ones and zeros as music, meaning sampled, and there's a certain digital sheen. Joe, maybe you can help me explain the sound of everything that's been recorded digital with digital plugins and all this. It's an unspoken, like maybe 15K or something you can't even really audible, but there's something about it, as opposed to seeing a bunch of guys running around on stage, playing, making a few mistakes, seeing a couple out-of-tune licks, because, I see these guys going after the Eagles just got their asses ripped apart. I'm going, Henley must be tripping, man. I feel bad for him, because people are going, I'm not going to pay $300, $400, $500 to watch somebody not do it for real.
Yeah, of course. Well,
guys, so there's going to be a big backlash, and ironically, me is to call me a singer is question. I get through it. You know what I mean? But I don't have the voice I had when I was a kid, and I don't consider myself a singer. But I sing. The point is, a little word or two, people are going to want to hear. They're going to want to hear you just slip a little bit. Or, I would fuck up and bend a note wrong or miss something, and nobody cares. Mm-hmm. We laugh. We don't get mad at each other like when you're a kid. We fucked up the whole gig.
Okay.
I don't know what Joe was saying. But I imagine he has his own permutation of what that was.
Well, what I can say is that you've been the lead singer on number one songs, so that's
that's for sure.
That makes you a singer.
You're being too humble. And I just love your vocals on that early 90s TOTO stuff.
In a controlled situation, recording studio, I got a nice sound, was double tracked, and I can spend the time.
Not only live, like that Montreux album, you sing. Marvelous.
Yeah, no, I worked hard on that. Those vocals, I did that because we had already gone through 4 or 5 lead singers, and it just got to the point where Jeff never. Why don't you just you and Paige do it? You sing on every record anyway.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I just go, I'll never be able to do the Bobby Kimball or Joe parts or anybody's part, Fergie parts. So yeah, it's be funny if they say that. So we decided to get background singers, and we did that for a few years, and they sang.
Yes, I remember that stage. Well, guys,
but it was weird. That's when everything started going. All this talk of it's not really TOTO anymore, or snarky people saying it's Steve Lukather's TOTO,
well, many bands are in that position. This earlier I interviewed Foreigner, and they had the same kind of comments.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
Basically, the songs that are stars.
Name me one classic rock still touring right now that has all original members.
It's difficult. I mean, I can.
How about this?
Yeah, maybe I don't know. YouTube, probably.
It's not because of a lot of it is illness, death. a physical ailment, a stroke, or, God forbid anything else, cancer. It happened twice in our band. Jeff died of a heart attack at 38. Mike dies of ALS, completely unrelated, in the same band. Bobby Kimball, our poor brother who we adore, he has frontal dementia, and it's like he hardly knows his family anymore. David Hungate is living on a farm. He's much older than we are, and he came out for 10 minutes, and we had a laugh. And we tried. Everybody's making money off of us when we work. All the people that are in and out of the band, regardless of their feelings of what we're doing. Yeah, you could say, okay.
From the fans' point of view, it's fantastic that you guys are coming. I mean, here in Argentina, we are thrilled with the possibility of seeing you so soon after that Movistar show almost a year ago. And can we have the hope of this becoming a habit, coming once a year?
Joe?
Well,
I mean, what memories do you have from that show? I mean, jokes apart. I mean, what memories you have from that great show a year ago? I mean, we were thrilled. Sounded fantastic.
I loved it. I had such a great time down there. I can't wait to come back down. And if it were all completely up to me, we'd be there every single year. And we have.
Well, I could tell a little secret that I can't tell exactly what it is. We may be back next year at some point for a surprise visit.
Oh, great!
Somewhere down there in the lovely South American region.
Great.
I can't say any more than that.
Open as you want. And what's particular about? I mean, you toured all the entire world. What's particular about Latin American audiences, maybe Argentine audiences? Like, without anybody telling you, you are performing to a Latin American audience.
Well, I mean, one thing just off the top of my head, it probably sounds, sort of naive, but, when we're down there and we perform a show, and as we're sort of finishing with like the last song, the audience is there, start chanting. It's almost like some sort of a soccer chant.
It is
exactly
something like that, which is amazing to me. You know what I mean? It's so loud and so wonderful and full of love. It's a real treat to have that happen. So.
Well,
I'm going to add to that just briefly. Our Latin brothers and sisters are emotional people, man, and when you guys feel it, you show it.
That's right.
And to see people smiling, or even a tear in their eye when they hear a ballad that reminds them of their high school boyfriend or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Or it takes them back to a happy time. The thing about our music, and it's been a stickler for us, is we stay out of politics and we stay out of, any preachy kind of stuff. We talk about things that we see, but we're not pushing anybody's agenda. We're pointing out in a general sense the way we write music, because we don't want to offend anybody. I'm not a politician. I'm a guitar player. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't want anybody to walk away going, it was great till he started talking all that shit about this and politics and this love. Never will that be uttered from our lips on stage. I can promise you that.
Well, gotta say something about Africa, because obviously,
where's that? I've heard of Africa.
I was trying to present, because it's an unavoidable question for us, because even though Toto and Africa are kind of, related around the world, here in Argentina there is a trifecta, because Toto and Africa is what people think when they think of our station, Aspen 102.3 FM.
Really?
It's the number one song for our listeners, and every time we play it, it's like we reaffirm our identity. There's even an account on X that keeps time of how many times Aspen is played Toto, Africa is played on Aspen, and how many hours have passed, because it's such a cultural thing. It's beyond music, and
it's beyond cultural. It's like it's gone generational. I mean, it's insane. It's the greatest gift we've ever been given, and the weirdest one, because if you come see us live, we don't have any other songs like Africa. We got a lot of other hit songs you've heard on the radio, and a lot of great playing, deep album cuts and all that. But the song Africa is just sometimes I just go, how did this track almost didn't make the record. We were all kind of like, the whole record was done until we heard the lyrics, and that was the last thing to go on the record. And I was kind of like, half the band, I mean, it was a great song, melody and riff and everything, but some of the lyrics were like, oh my Lord. And you kind of like, but who knew this golden carrot would follow us 48 years or whatever it is, and bring people in to see what else we can do. And all of a sudden our whole catalog and the streaming and the whole thing is like we're keeping up with the kids in terms of how many streams we get and how our career is going. It's been a blessing beyond blessing. God gave us the last act, and man, boy, we're really appreciative to all the people out there that come to see us. And then we really love all you guys.
As a radio DJ, as one of the presenters on Aspen, every time I've got Africa on my playlist, I'm happy because I know when I introduce a song, a lot of people stuck in a traffic jam or looking at the clock to get out of work are gonna be injected with positive energy, and it's fantastic.
I've looked at it from a different point of irony, and one that I've not shared is that, as this started out as David Paich and Jeff Piccaro's band from day one, before I brought me in January 7th, 1977, they were something together. They had a magic. Dave was the music and Jeff with the lyrics and ideas. And I think Jeff was Dave's greatest muse and sort of inspiration, would guide Dave. That's hip, that's not hip. And he had that kind of awareness and stuff. But the irony that's the golden carrot, our biggest song, and it was written by Dave and Jeff, it kind of keeps him in the room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas I would never sit around and play it myself in the living room. When we start playing that thing and the crowd goes nuts, it's fun every time, right, Joe? And everybody sings and see the happiness of 10,000 people smiling at you, really having a great time, forgetting how fucked up our world is.
In rush, isn't it?
It is major rush. My favorite part of the show every day.
I can see it on clips that, you encourage the people to join in, and it won't be necessary in Argentina because we are already excited. You can make people. And by the way, Joe, what are the best parts to have the audience sing along? You have to do that a lot in Argentina because we also sing the instrumental parts and the solos, not just the.
Yeah, I've noticed that. That's especially if I do one, I won't hold you back or something like that.
Like a football.
They sing the solo with me. It's a big rush for me. Because I wrote that in my living room at Cherokee Studios in 81, 80, and here it is all these years later, and the whole generation, 3 generations, comes and checks out our music, and it's real. It's analog. Yeah, we make mistakes, we do things, but we're giving our all. We improvise. We don't just do the same thing every night. Just little slight changes.
Yeah. I noticed. So, Joe, speaking about other songs, how one of my favorite parts of last year's show is the opening of Pamela. When you have the people shout that opening scream. How did that came up, and how did was that improvised or you worked on that shout? That is unique. It's absolutely.
Well, when we recorded it, I think it was improvised. There was just a sort of musically a big hole right there, and I think I just shouted just to try and make the guys in the studio laugh or something. But
it's not funny. It's cool.
No, but I'm just saying when I was doing it in the studio, it just was something that was fun and kind of rock or whatever. But it's fun to do live. I think years ago, somewhere in the early teens or whatever, I used to not do it live and let the audience do it. So I think that's when it sort of became a thing with the audience. So now I do it with them.
Let me ask you about you guys as listeners. Records. We are a music station. We play loads of music, and what you guys listen to. Records. Historic records that you could listen to over and over again.
Well, most of my music listening, believe it or not, is in my car.
Yeah, like our listeners.
All kinds of different stations with different kinds of music, and even comedy stations and stuff. talk, and then all my favorite old school stuff. You know what I mean?
Like,
I guess they say it's true. I mean, I don't really know what's happening in the top 40 right now, really. So it's not because I don't like it. It's just that it's not in front of me, so I don't get around it.
Well, going back in history, decades ago, if we think of like a recipe of influences for Toto, what would be the ingredients and in which proportion? I assume from other interviews and from your biography, Luke, that Beatles is a very big important ingredient.
That and Steely Dan and Stevie Wonder and Hendrix, and, we have a pretty broad spectrum. So even an orchestral, proggy, I don't know, Joe, how would you explain that?
Well, classical. I mean, I listen to music in my car too, not really so much at home. And like Luke said, I listen to a lot of talk and news and stuff like that, just because, music is what we do for work. So over the years, you start to sort of, drift away from maybe listening to popular music and listening to other things. I listen to a lot of classical is something I like to listen to in the car, just because it's calming and it's interesting. It's interesting. A lot of film score music, which is understandable for me. And then, there's the go-to old classic records like the Nightfly by Donald Fagen. It's like every once in a while you got to put that on. It still sounds and sonically its production and everything is still, better than most new things. It's one of those things that holds up.
Dan was the litmus test for it all, When the band first started out, Jeff was in Steely Dan when we were in high school. Page was playing on those records. And, and our high school band was basically a Steely Dan tribute band. So the way they made as much as I liked all, Hendrix, Jeff Beck, and all the rock heavy, the sounds coming from England that were more experimental and psychedelic and whatnot, still, the Beatles were first the catalyst. Sgt. Pepper's, does anybody ever going to make a better record than that? And the only thing that comes in terms of fresh ideas from nowhere and the songwriting and the performances, sounds, Steely, they took it to a little bit more pristine in terms of performance. They didn't let a wart go by. But there was an art to it. It was painfully extracted by musicians and singers. And they spent a lot of money and a lot of time making those records as like they were their own musical Mona Lisa, if you will, Asian, gaucho, come on. You can indicate, the Royal Scam, these are, and of course, Donald's first solo album, Nightfly, is a desert island for me, man.
Guys, I've got we had a contest on the air a couple of days ago in which we asked our listeners on the air and our social media if they can send a question that we can pass on to you. There were hundreds of comments and questions, and we picked one. The question by Melissa Gribaudo. She won 2 tickets to the December 13 show at the Polo Field, and the question that she has for you guys is: why there are so many songs named after women on most of your records?
We hadn't come out yet.
That's a much better answer than what I was going to say. I was just going to say because we like women so much. We all, it was always a great thing to be able to write a song for a girl or about a girl. But I like his answer better. Before we came out,
every single.
Hey, wait! I have many gay friends. This is not a gay slur. It's just a silly joke.
All right. It's okay. But it's obviously I know that Rosanna is named after an actor. Every single song named after a woman. Is there a woman named like that, or sometimes you just came up with a name and it's nice?
Joe, you have
pretty much. Pamela was a real person, is a real person. Rosanna, I believe, is a real person we're talking about.
There's other ones though. There weren't like
Melanie. There's
that's a fictitious.
Pollyanna. There's Anna.
My song.
Yeah,
Anna,
there's a Melanie.
I mean, but when you write a song with a girl's name, you can be writing about the girl you're thinking of who has a different name, but write the song with another name. But because Anna
Right.
maybe or something like that sang better for the rhythm of the song, rather than Zelda, hold my testicles, Zelda.
Wait, let me get
Wait
this.
a
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of film score music, which is understandable for me. Um, and then there's the go-to old classic records like the Night Fly by Donald Fagen. It's like every once in a while you got to put that on. It still sounds and sonically, its production and everything is still better than most new things. It's one of those
I
things that
think
holds up.
Steely Dan was the litmus test for it all. I mean, when the band first started out, I mean, Jeff was in Steely Dan when we were in high school. Page was playing on those records. And and our high school band was basically a Steely Dan tribute band.
Yeah.
So the way they made I mean, as much as I liked all Hendrix, Jeff Beck, and all the rock heavy, the sounds coming from England that were more experimental and psychedelic and whatnot, I still, the Beatles were first the catalyst. I mean, Sergeant Pepper's, does anybody ever going to make a better record than that? And the only thing that comes in terms of fresh ideas from nowhere and the songwriting and the performances, sounds, Steely, they took it to a little bit more pristine in terms of performance. They didn't let a wart go by. But there was an art to it. It was painfully extracted by musicians and singers. And they spent a lot of money and a lot of time making those records as like they were their own musical Mona Lisa, if you will, Asia, Gaucho, come on. You can indicate, the Royal Scam, I mean, these are, and of course, Donald's first solo album, Night Flies, Desert Island for me, man.
Guys, I've got we had a contest on the air a couple of days ago in which we asked our listeners on the air and our social media if they can send a question that we can pass on to you. There were hundreds of comments and questions, and we picked one. The question by Melissa Gribaudo. She won 2 tickets to the December 13 show, the Polo Field. And the question that she has for you guys is, why there are so many songs named after women on most of your records?
We hadn't come out yet.
That's a much better answer than what I was going to say. I was just going to say because we like women so much. We all, it was always a great thing to be able to write a song for a girl or about a girl. But I like his answer better before we came out.
Every single.
Hey, wait, I have many gay friends. This is not a gay slur. It's just a silly joke.
It's all right. It's okay. But it's I mean, obviously I know that Rosanna is named after an actor. Every single song named after a woman. Is there a woman named like that, or sometimes you just came up with a name and it's nice?
Joe, you have
Well, pretty much. I mean, Pamela was a real person, is a real person. Rosanna, I believe, is a real person we're talking about.
There's
I'm
other
not
ones though. I mean, that weren't like
Melanie. There's
that's a fictitious.
Pollyanna. There's Anna.
Anna, my song.
Yeah,
Anna,
there's a Melanie.
I mean, but when you write a song with a girl's name, you can be writing about the girl you're thinking of who has a different name, but write the song with another name. But because Anna maybe or something like that sang better for the rhythm of the song, rather than Zelda, hold my testicles, Zelda.
Wait, let me get this.
More challenging. I mean, this is my own thing after recording so
You know
many.
what it was like for me? Like someone taking me to my own private, personalized, I love everything Disneyland musically. I'm in a big, huge bitchin' recording studio with the greatest musicians that I've admired ever since 10th grade. And we had just done the Boz Scaggs tour, which was the biggest tour he did off Self Degrees, and I was 19. I got to do that and walked right into the studio and started our first album. I started doing sessions in town thanks to recommendations from Jeff and David Foster and all the Graydon and Carlton and Dean Parks, all the guys that recommend me. And everything just kind of blew up all at once. And like when we finished, we did this big ass production on our record. We had to figure out how to play it live afterwards. That's when we started going, oh, we need a couple extra people to come on the road if we're going to pull this off. With the big 3-part harmonies and the percussion and all that stuff. That makes our music a little different than a regular rock band. When you think of rock band per se.
Definitely. What can you anticipate? What can you tell us about the upcoming show on December 13th in the polo field of Buenos Aires, home of the most important polo tournament in the world, the Palermo Open? Is it going to be the songs that you play this year? Is it going to be some surprise?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that because a lot of them are all hits, and if we don't play the hits, people get mad. You know, we change up the album cuts, and even when we play the same songs, we never play them the same way twice. You know, so I mean, there's stuff we got to do that the fans want to hear, and then we fill it up with stuff that we think the hardcore fans want to hear. We're working on next year's set list too. That's going to be different. So, you know, we try to change that stuff up every time. And Joe is really kind of in charge with putting the set list together, and I kind of like come in behind him and go.
Will you play till the end or on the round in December? Or I mean, is the set list already set?
Well, I mean, right now it's already pretty pat, but on the round, we have bigger surprises coming next year.
Okay. Is Christopher Cross related to it? Because you guys have Christopher Cross opening for you. Maybe we can see him on stage.
Yeah, well, we were doing this bit over the summer where the guys would come out at the end of the show. Chris's family. I played on his early stuff when early 20s, like 1980, 81. And he was a lifelong friend. He's a great guitar player, which is what people don't really realize. Christopher Cross is a great rock guitar player, for real. Grew up in Austin, and he turned me on to Eric Johnson in 1980. Before he was famous, he said, "There's a guy in Austin. You got to see him." And what can I say, man? I mean, he's just a great cat. He asked me to do the movie because, as a favor, he said that Michael McDonald was doing it, Kenny Loggins, and a couple of guys' records that I played on back then. And he said Donald Fagen's doing it. I said, "Oh, Donald Fagen's doing it. We're in." So if it's good enough for Donald Fagen, even though he pulled a fucking hate yacht rock, he licensed 6 songs for the film. So.
You know, a pop culture question here in Argentina, the 1980s. I mean, most of our playlists are 1980s music, not only, but the majority. They're super popular, not just the music, but I mean the films, nostalgia. Being Africa, our most important, the most important track on our single. Do you have kind of a theory, an explanation for why people are so into the 1980s?
I think for every generation, there's always a decade or a period in the past that starts to interest them. You know what I mean?
So I think the records sound different because they were recorded in real studios with everybody playing at the same time, and then we overdubbed everything. There's a realness to it. There's a spontaneity. It's something they can't tangibly know what it is. It's like, what is that? But they know it's real. And when if we make a mistake, we start laughing at each other on stage. Then people see that we're actually having a really good time with friends. We're all friends. It's not a hey dig me show. Everybody gets a moment. You know what I mean? Everybody gets to shine.
Okay, final question. Well, actually, it's a request. If you can, guys, say hi to our listeners and invite them to your show, December 13, Polo Field, Palermo, Buenos Aires.
What was that last
Aspen 102.3 FM. I mean, introduce yourselves and say hi to our listeners and invite them to the show if you could, please.
No, what's the date of the show again? I'm sorry.
December 13th, Saturday, the Polo Field of Buenos Aires.
Hey everybody, my name is Joseph Williams. Looking forward to seeing you at the Polo Field on the 13th of December. Please come out and see us. I guarantee you will not be disappointed. It's going to be a fun night.
Hi, I'm Steve Lukather from TOTO. I like to play naked and run around on stage and occasionally fart into the microphone.
Did you actually do that when
No, I just thought I'm the same. Joe gave you the stock answer. You go with that one.
you said once that you would run naked if a song
You know, and the irony was that song was Africa. I said, "This is #1 record. I'll run naked down Hollywood Boulevard." Now, this was the end of the mixes of TOTO 4. Dug the tune. Rosanna was always the hit for me, and I think that's such a great representation of what, if you had to pick one song, what does TOTO sound like? I'd pick that one, or I'd pick something off of Seventh One, you know, like Pamela. That would be another one where you go, that's TOTO. That's what TOTO's all about. Because it has multiple the vocals are big, it has little synth parts, guitar parts. The groove is different than any rock band would play. I mean, and then the rest of it, we go crazy everywhere else. I mean, we've done the simplest ballads and the most weird prog rock stuff, instrumental music. Why not? Why do we have to do it all? When you go to a restaurant, is there one thing on the menu?
No.
So
it's a bad restaurant if they do that. Okay.
No matter what we play, we sound like we sound. So.
From Hold the Line to I'll Be Over You to Jake to the Bone. This covers pretty much every area.
Yeah,
waiting for your love.
Waiting for your love.
Orgy.
Yeah.
And Great Expectations. And Hydra. You know, there's all kinds of weird music. Different singers on every album too. That's the thing, you know. There might be a high tenor. Joe's been the longest tenured and the strongest singer we've had. Bobby was a legend. He was great when he was young. He had it all. He was the scariest guy on the planet. But, you know, we all get older and parts wear out and things happen.
Well, you guys...
There's nobody better than Joseph Williams on the road singing right now at his age. No one.
Absolutely.
That's all. It's real. There's no faking. There's no like...
Those two albums in the 1980s, I'm addicted to his voice. Well, guys, thank you very much for your time. I know you have other commitments, other interviews. Looking forward to see you. Full disclosure, I'm a big TOTO fan, and I'm a big fan of what TOTO stands for. So this was an honor and a pleasure. Thank you very much, folks.
Thanks, man.
Pleasure. Thank you.
I'll talk to you later. Joe, give me a call.
All right.
All right, later.
Take care.
You, Aspen. Bye.